Good morning. Before we even think about the day ahead, before the coffee, before the news, let me ask you a question. What is that very first moment of consciousness like for you? When you first open your eyes and your mind comes online, but your body, well, your body hasn't quite gotten the memo yet. Do you ever lie there for a moment and feel cemented? Like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz, before Dorothy found the oil can. You know in your head that you need to swing your legs over the side of the bed and start the day, but your knees, your back, your hips, they all send back a very clear, very stiff message, not so fast. If that sounds even remotely familiar, you are in exactly the right place. For years, we've been told that this morning stiffness is just an unavoidable part of getting older. It's a line we hear so often, we start to believe it's a fact of life. But what if I told you that while we may not be able to turn back the clock, we can absolutely change how we start our day? What if the secret to a more mobile, less achy morning wasn't some grueling workout or a magic pill, but a simple, gentle 5-minute conversation with your body that you can have before your feet even touch the floor? Today, we are going to walk through a simple, safe, and incredibly effective routine designed specifically for you. This isn't about a quick fix. I know you're skeptical of those, and you should be. This is about making a small, consistent deposit into your body's mobility account every single morning, so you can move through your day with more ease and confidence. So if you're ready to trade that cemented feeling for a sense of gentle readiness, stick with me. We're about to give your joints the warm, gentle wake-up call they truly deserve. Before we dive into the how of this routine, it's critically important that we understand the why. Because when you understand why something works, you're so much more likely to stick with it. Many of us, myself included, have started exercise routines and given up because we didn't feel a real connection to the purpose behind them. It just felt like going through the motions. But this is different. This is about working with your body's natural design, not against it. Think about what happens when we sleep. For 7, 8, hopefully 9 hours, our bodies are largely still. During this time, the fluid inside our joints, which is called synovial fluid, starts to thicken up. You can think of this fluid as your body's own internal engine oil or lubricant. Its job is to keep the cartilage on the ends of your bones slippery and cushioned. When we're inactive for a long time, like overnight, this fluid becomes more like cold honey, thick and slow-moving. That's a huge part of why we feel so stiff and achy in the morning. Our joints are literally gunked up. So what's the solution? It's not a sudden jarring movement. It's not leaping out of bed to prove you can. According to health experts at institutions like Johns Hopkins Medicine, the key is gentle, mindful movement. When you begin to move your joints through their natural range of motion, you create a gentle warming effect. This warmth helps to thin out that synovial fluid, turning it from cold honey back into a warm, slippery lubricant. It's like starting your car on a cold winter morning and letting the engine warm up for a few minutes before you ask it to drive down the highway. You're preparing the machinery, sending blood flow to the surrounding muscles and waking up the nerves. This isn't about becoming a gymnast. It's about basic fundamental maintenance that makes everything else you do that day, from walking to the kitchen to tending your garden, just a little bit easier. The entire goal of this routine is framed around what health researchers call positive framing. We're not focusing on what you'll lose if you don't do this. We're focusing on the wonderful mobility and comfort you will gain. So today, I'm going to guide you through 4 incredibly simple, safe movements. First, we'll start with our ankles and feet, the very foundation of our body. Then, we'll move up to a gentle stretch for the lower back and hamstrings. After that, we'll do a wonderful rotational movement to improve spinal mobility, which is so key for everyday tasks. And you'll definitely want to stick around for that one. It's a game changer for anyone who feels locked up in their core. Finally, we'll finish with a safe and effective way to release tension in the neck. And after we've gone through the routine, we'll talk about the most important part of all, managing our expectations and learning to celebrate the small, meaningful victories in our health journey. And a quick but important reminder, I am not a doctor, and this video is for informational purposes only. The information shared here is based on widely accepted principles of gentle exercise from credible sources like the Mayo Clinic. However, you should always consult with your personal physician or a physical therapist before beginning any new exercise program, especially if you have a pre-existing condition, have had surgery, or experience chronic pain. They know your specific health history and can give you the best possible advice. The golden rule always is to listen to your body. Movement should feel good. It should not cause sharp or shooting pain. Now, let's get comfortable and begin. The first movement in our gentle wake-up call is all about the ankles and feet. It may seem almost too simple, but please don't underestimate its power. Think about that very first moment when you stand up. The entire weight of your body is transferred down through your legs to two very small, very complex structures, your feet. If your ankles are stiff and your feet are asleep, your balance can be compromised from that very first step, increasing the risk of a stumble. This simple movement is your first line of defense against that. It's about ensuring your foundation is stable before you even ask it to bear weight. Let's think about the science for a moment. Just like the other joints, your ankles have that synovial fluid that needs warming up. But just as importantly, gently moving your feet and ankles acts like a pump, helping to push blood that has pooled in your lower legs overnight back up towards your heart. This improves circulation and can help reduce that heavy, swollen feeling some people experience in their feet in the morning. I once spoke with a wonderful gentleman, a retired postman named Arthur. He spent his whole life walking, and he was diligent about stretching his hips and knees. But he confessed he never once thought about his ankles. It was a simple, unexpected roll of his ankle on an uneven bit of sidewalk that led to a bad fall and a long recovery. He told me later, I spent all my time looking at the big picture, the hips and the back, and I ignored the foundation. Now, I start with my feet every single day. So, let's follow Arthur's advice. Lying comfortably on your back, with your legs resting in whatever position feels natural. Let's start with adjust your right foot. Don't force anything. Simply begin to draw slow, lazy circles with your big toe. Imagine you're painting a small circle on the ceiling with it. Make the movement smooth and continuous. Let's do 5 circles in one direction. 1, 2. Feel that gentle movement in the ankle joint. 3, 4, and 5. Now, let's reverse it. 5 slow circles in the other direction. 1, 2. This isn't a race. 3, 4, and 5. Now let's do the same with the left foot. 5 slow circles clockwise and 5 slow circles counterclockwise. Take your time. You are sending the very first good morning signal to your body. Now that we've done the circles, we'll do a point and flex. Still focusing on one foot at a time, gently point your toes away from you, as if you're trying to press a gas pedal. Hold it for just a second or two. You might feel a nice stretch along the front of your shin. Then, slowly reverse the motion, flexing your foot and gently pulling your toes back towards your knee. You should feel a gentle stretch in your calf muscle. Let's do this 5 times on each foot. Point and flex. That's 1. Point and flex. That's 2. It's a beautifully simple movement, isn't it? You might be thinking to yourself, really? Ankle circles and pointing my toes? How can this possibly make a difference? I understand that skepticism. We're so often told that exercise has to be hard or complicated to be effective. But this isn't about building muscle. It's about reestablishing communication. You are gently waking up the nerves, warming the fluid, and improving blood flow. It's a quiet, respectful way to begin. If at any point you feel a sharp, pinching pain within the ankle joint itself, that is your body's signal to make the circle smaller or to back off completely. This should feel like gentle, freeing movement, not a strain. Now that we've awakened the very foundation of our body, let's move that gentle awareness up the leg to address one of the most common areas of morning stiffness, the lower back and the back of the legs. This brings us to our second movement, the single knee to chest stretch. This one is an absolute classic for a reason. So many of us wake up and feel that deep, stubborn ache in our lower back, or a profound tightness in our glutes and hamstrings. It can make the simple act of bending over to put on socks and shoes feel like a monumental task. The reason this stretch is so effective lies in what it does for your spine and hips. When you gently draw one knee towards your chest, you are giving the muscles of your lower back, your lumbar spine, a very gentle stretch. You're also stretching the large gluteal muscles in your buttocks, which can get incredibly tight overnight. Think of the soft discs that sit between the bones of your spine, your vertebrae. As a study from the Cleveland Clinic explains, these discs are like tiny sponges. Gentle movement like this helps them to decompress and rehydrate after being compressed during sleep. You're creating space and relieving pressure. I think of our persona, Carol, the retired school teacher with arthritis in her knees. She shared that this single stretch is the one that helps her feel less locked up when she goes to reach for her slippers. It's that little bit of forward momentum that makes the rest of the day feel more possible. So let's try it together. Lying on your back, let's start by gently sliding your heels so that both knees are bent and your feet are flat on the bed. This protects your lower back. Now take a gentle breath in. As you breathe out, slowly bring your right knee up towards your chest. Don't pull yet, just bring it up. Now, place your hands either on your shin, just below your knee, or, if you have sensitive knees, clasp your hands behind your thigh. This is a crucial modification to protect the knee joint. On your next exhale, gently guide the knee a little closer to your chest, only until you feel a comfortable stretch in your lower back or buttock. There should be absolutely no sharp pain. Hold it here. Let's breathe for 20 to 30 seconds. This isn't about forcing it. It's about letting the muscles relax into the stretch. Imagine your lower back muscles lengthening and releasing their grip. After about 30 seconds, on an inhale, gently release your leg and place your foot back down on the bed. Now, let's repeat on the other side. Bring the left knee up. Clasp your hands in the position that's most comfortable for you. And on an exhale, gently guide it towards your chest. Hold and breathe. The temptation here can be very strong to really yank that knee to your chest to get what we think of as a good stretch. Many of us were raised with the no pain, no gain philosophy. But when it comes to managing chronic conditions like arthritis, a much better motto is no pain, no gain. The victory isn't in how far you can pull your leg. The victory is in understanding the difference between the feeling of a gentle, productive stretch and the feeling of a painful strain. If you feel any sharp pain in the hip socket, a pinching sensation in the front of your hip, or pain in the knee itself, that's your signal to back off immediately. Your body is giving you important information. Listen to it. This gentle stretch is an act of kindness to your back. All right, let's just take a quick pause and a deep breath. We are halfway through our gentle morning routine. We've woken up our ankles and feet to build a stable foundation, and we started to gently release the tension in our lower back and hips. How are you feeling? If this gentle, respectful approach to movement is making sense to you, or if you're already feeling just a little bit looser, I would be so grateful if you took a quick second to tap that like button below this video. It's a small thing that tells YouTube this information is valuable, and it helps other people who are searching for safe, realistic ways to manage their morning stiffness find this video. Thank you so much for that. Now, let's continue. As we hold this knee to chest position, you might feel how it connects your leg to your hip and your hip to your spine. This is the perfect setup for our third movement, which focuses on gently waking up the rotational capacity of your spine. Have you ever tried to roll over in bed or reach for the alarm clock and felt like your entire torso from your ribs to your pelvis was one solid, unmoving block? That feeling of being stuck is often due to stiffness in the small joints along your spine. This next movement, the lower back rotational stretch, is designed to address that directly. The science here is all about spinal mobility. Your spine isn't one solid rod. It's a brilliant stack of bones designed to bend and twist. Think of it like a stack of coins. This gentle twisting motion helps to gently unstick those coins, allowing them to glide over one another. It lubricates the tiny facet joints that connect each vertebra and gently stretches the muscles that run alongside your spine. Improving this rotational mobility is absolutely key for so many daily activities we take for granted. Looking over your shoulder to back up the car, reaching for something on a high shelf, or even just turning to talk to someone sitting next to you. This movement helps restore that fluid motion. Let's begin from the same starting position. Lying on your back with both knees bent and your feet flat on the bed, about hip-width apart. Rest your arms out to your sides, perhaps in a T-shape or just comfortably on the bed. The goal is to try and keep your shoulders as flat and heavy on the bed as possible throughout this stretch. Now, take a slow breath in. As you breathe out, let both of your knees gently and slowly fall over to the right side. That's it. Let gravity do most of the work. Don't force them to the bed. Let them go only as far as is comfortable. You should feel a lovely, gentle stretch across your lower back and perhaps along the side of your left hip. If you want a little extra support, placing a pillow between your knees can feel absolutely wonderful. Hold here for 20 to 30 seconds, just breathing normally. Try to relax your hip and let the stretch happen. On your next inhale, engage your stomach muscles just a little and gently guide your knees back to the starting position. Now, let's repeat on the other side. On an exhale, let your knees slowly fall to the left. Keep those shoulders on the bed. Breathe. You may have seen fitness instructors on television twisting themselves into a pretzel. That is not our goal. The principle of capacity-based exercise is crucial here. That means meeting your body exactly where it is today, in this moment. Your comfortable range of motion is completely unique to you. A tiny 1-inch movement to the side that feels good and relieving is infinitely more beneficial than a 1-foot movement that causes a twinge of pain. This is about honoring your body's limits, not fighting them. A major red flag for this particular stretch would be any sharp shooting pain that travels down your leg, often called sciatica. If you experience that, stop immediately. That's a sign of nerve irritation, and it's something you should discuss with your doctor. We are looking for a broad, gentle stretching sensation in the muscles of the back and hip, never a sharp electric nerve pain. From this stable, grounded position, having woken up our lower body and our core, we can now turn our attention to the final piece of our puzzle, an area that carries so much of our daily physical and emotional tension, the neck and shoulders. This brings us to our fourth and final movement, a series of safe, gentle neck stretches. We often can't even realize how much tension we're holding in our neck and upper shoulders until we try to check our blind spot while driving and are met with a stiff, painful resistance. Our sleeping position, the type of pillow we use, and even stress can all contribute to waking up with a sore, tight neck. My own mother used to complain about waking up with what she called a terrible crick in her neck almost every morning. She would try to roll her head around to work it out, which often seemed to make it worse. It was only when her physical therapist taught her to do these slow, mindful, and linear movements before lifting her head from the pillow that she finally found consistent relief. This is so important because, as many physical therapists caution, full neck circles can actually be one of the more harmful movements for a mature spine. They can grind the delicate cervical vertebrae together and cause irritation. The movements we're about to do are much safer and more effective. So let's do this the smart way. Lying flat on your back, looking straight up at the ceiling, let your head feel heavy on the pillow. The first movement is a simple, slow rotation. On an exhale, slowly turn your head to look to the right, as if you're trying to look at the wall beside your bed. Go only as far as you feel a gentle stretch, not a pinch. Hold for about 15 seconds. Then, on an inhale, slowly and smoothly bring your head back to the center. Now, let's do the other side. Exhale and slowly turn to look to the left. Hold, and inhale back to the center. Let's do that one more time on each side. Slow and deliberate. Now for the second part, the side tilt. Come back to the center, looking at the ceiling. On your next exhale, gently tilt your head so that your right ear moves towards your right shoulder. Your shoulder stays down and relaxed. You are not lifting your shoulder to your ear. You should feel a beautiful, lengthening stretch along the left side of your neck. It can be quite intense, so be gentle. Hold for 15 seconds, breathing. Inhale and bring your head back to the center. And now, exhale and let your left ear drift down towards your left shoulder. Feel that wonderful release on the right side. And back to the center. The absolute stop signs for any neck movement are any feelings of dizziness, lightheadedness, numbness, or tingling that travels down into your arms or hands. The neck is a complex highway of nerves and blood vessels. If you experience any of those symptoms, stop and consult your doctor. Choosing these safer, more deliberate movements over aggressive neck rolling isn't about being timid. It's about being intelligent and proactive in protecting your long-term health and well-being. And there we have it. 4 simple, powerful movements. Ankle circles to build your foundation. The knee to chest stretch to release your lower back. The gentle twist to mobilize your spine. And the safe neck stretches to release tension. You've just completed your 5-minute wake up and move routine. Take a moment here, just lying in bed, to notice how you feel. Is there a little less stiffness? A little more warmth? A sense of readiness? The goal of these 5 minutes isn't necessarily to leap out of bed completely pain-free, especially if you live with a chronic condition like osteoarthritis. As we discussed, the idea of a quick fix for chronic pain is largely a myth. The real tangible goal is to manage that new normal and improve your function. The victory isn't the absence of sensation. The victory is feeling a little less like the Tin Man and a little more like yourself. It's about starting your day with a deliberate act of self-care, a quiet conversation with your body that says, "I'm listening, and we're going to work together today." By doing this routine consistently, you are making a daily investment. You're lubricating your joints, warming your muscles, and waking up your nervous system. You are taking back a measure of control from the morning stiffness that may have felt unbeatable. Celebrate the small improvements. Maybe one day you notice it's a little easier to put on your shoes. Maybe another day you can reach for something in the cupboard with less of a wince. These are the victories. This routine is your tool to build a better morning, one gentle stretch at a time. It's an act of deep respect for your body and for the life you want to lead. Now I would love to hear from you. Community and shared experience are so powerful on this journey. Which of these four movements do you think will make the biggest difference for you? Or perhaps you have your own gentle morning ritual that has helped you over the years. Please, take a moment to share your thoughts and your story in the comments section below. I read every single one, and your experience could be the very thing someone else needs to read today to feel encouraged and less alone. If you found this realistic, empathetic, and in-depth approach to health and wellness helpful, please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing the little notification bell. That way, you won't miss out our future videos, where we continue to explore safe, effective, and empowering ways to live well. Thank you so much for investing this time in yourself today. Be well, stay wonderfully active, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.